a very, very special university. I'm not going to be doing the introduction, but like we've been doing it so far, we have a freshman who's going to introduce today's session to you and tell you about everything that we're going to do today. Whatever questions y'all have through the session, please make sure y'all send it in the chat box. You can direct it to me or anybody from ISDI, and we'll be more than happy to take them towards the end of the session, right? So coming to Devanshi, of course, she is a Bombay girl, studied at Jai Hind College in Mumbai. She's our freshman student. She's taken admission this year at ISDI. And as you could already tell from the collage that we made, she's a fan of NGOs. She's worked with NGOs. She's a fan of dancing. And y'all must ask her rather what she's been doing through this lockdown, because I think it's quite inspirational to hear from her. And I think one more very, very special thing about Devanshi is, which actually surprised me, and I was already a fan when I read that, is that she was interning at Humans of Bombay. Now, that's a page that we all look at, we all follow, of course, like Humans of New York, and she was working with the Bombay team, and I think that's absolutely fabulous. And Devanshi, you have to tell us about your experience at Humans of Bombay as well, and please tell us something more about you too.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Krish. Thank you for that introduction. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our International at ISDI, first of its kind. And I hope everybody is safe and is doing well. I think Krish has already given an introduction, but I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Devanshi Bagri, and I'm a freshman student of ISDI. I am extremely excited for my year to start. I live in Mumbai itself, and I've graduated from Jai Hind College. I would like to thank the faculty for giving me the opportunity to connect with everybody present here and to tell you a little bit about ISDI and Ravensbourne University, which is in London. Ravensbourne University is one of the many universities ISDI has collaborated with to provide diverse experiences to its students. For example, if a student is doing an undergraduate program at ISDI, that student can do 2 years at the ISDI campus and can do 2 years at Ravensbourne University in London itself. Ravensbourne University is they specialize in digital media, design, vocational courses like fashion, television and broadcasting, interactive product design, architecture and environment design, graphic design, sound design, music production, and so on. So they have some really interesting courses. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce our faculty of the university. First in the list, we have Miss Lizzie Nolan. Welcome.
I'm going to help you put them all on spotlight.
All right. Yes, please.
Hi, everyone. Yes. Hi, everyone. Yes, thanks for joining today. I'm very excited to be able to talk to you all. It's always a pleasure to be able to talk to ISDI students. So yes, my name's Lizzie and I'm the International Officer at Ravensbourne. So I have experience, I've had the honour to go to Mumbai as well and have experience with helping and building our international community at the university. So not just students from India, but also students from Thailand, from the United States, from European countries, really to build that global community at Ravensbourne, because that is really valuable to their education. So please take advantage of this session today, ask as many questions as possible. Nothing is a silly question, so don't be shy and enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you. We're really happy to have you. I think Miss Lizzie has already introduced herself, but I'd like to just give a little introduction about her. Miss Nolan is the International Recruitment Officer at Ravensbourne University, London, who recently joined in September 2020 to help expand their international market. Like Miss has mentioned, she has 4.5 years experience in working with higher education and has particularly focused on the markets such as India, Thailand, and Europe. Thank you. We're really happy to have you on board with us today.
Thank you,
Next we have Mr. Tolani Giola.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you. It's a great opportunity. It's 11:44. We're still in the morning here, but it's almost afternoon, sunny here in London. It's wonderful, and thank every member of faculty at ISDI, and also the students, and also parents or stakeholders. We really appreciate this opportunity. We've had this relationship, for a couple of years now, and I can see it flourishing evermore. So I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much. Mr. Tolani Jeola is the International Development Manager at Ravensbourne University. He has undertaken various international recruitment trips to different parts of the world to support international students and parents looking at the option of studying in the UK. Thank you for joining us today. We also have Mr. Andrew Marsh. Mr. Andrew Marsh.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, pleasure to be here. My name is Andrew Marsh. I'm one of the academics at Ravensbourne. I work in the Department of Design Practice, and I lead the product design course.
Thank you so much. We're so happy to have you. Like Sir has mentioned, he is a designer and engineer working in the project development, installations, and electronics with the focus on digital manufacturing. Thank you so much. And finally, we have Anvam, who is currently a third-year product design student at Ravensbourne University, and he is nearing his graduation. Thank you for being on board with us. We're really happy to have you today. We also have Ms. Bulbul Chaudhary, the Director International of ISDI. Now that we're familiar with our panel today, I would like to ask our guests a few questions about the university. So let's just jump right in. Firstly, I would like to ask you about the university, about the campus facilities, the location, and the speciality of the university.
Thank you for that question. I really appreciate that. So I will go first, and then I would allow my colleague Lizzie to jump in, just to have that discussion. And this is also open. Andrew also is, able to help at this point, and Amram. So I'll start by saying Ravensbourne University is a creative specialist university designed for industry. And that's one specific thing I want us to kind of take home at this point in time, designed for industry. So we are nearing a time where the skill a student has at graduation is very important, and how that skill adapts to the industry. And that is what Ravensbourne is able to offer to students and also to partners like ISDI. And we're located in the vibrant Greenwich Peninsula. It's a wonderful place. I live around Greenwich as well. It's wonderful. And we have also a wonderful campus. You can see from my backdrop, and also this is backdrop, that's our campus, and it's a wonderful place to be. One of the great things we have at Ravensbourne is our practical creative courses, modern facilities, focus on collaboration. So when I keep going back to the fact link with industry, skill, and that's very important. So collaboration, and that's one key skill we try to allow our students imbibe before graduation. And also one good thing I'm happy about, I feel like jumping about this, it's our brand new Institute for Creativity and Technology. I just walked past it a few minutes ago, and we'll be launching it very soon. It's a very, very great opportunity. So it's giving all our partners and students the opportunity to kind of feel design, creation, and also digital design in a new way. And that's one thing about Ravensbourne University. So I'll allow Lizzie just touch on a bit where I didn't touch on, and then we'll hand over back to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tolani. Thank you. Yes, so we're also, you heard, we are a specialist university. So what does that mean? That means that when you enter the doors of Ravensbourne, you'll be absorbing creativity, creative arts, and digital media. You'll be surrounded by like-minded students, but also collaborating with students from other fields, and be able to use all of the facilities available at the university. We're located as well in Greenwich. Greenwich is in southeast London, and we're located along the Greenwich Peninsula. So it's a lovely location, very calm. And we're located in an area that's called the Design District. Now, this is a new area that's being developed, and we're very excited about it. So not only is the building itself a specialist university, but you'll be located in a design hub. So what does that mean? That means that the buildings around you will be, you know, architecture firms or marketing agencies. We have local sculptors and artists that present their work along the peninsula. So it's a really wonderful location as well. We have great accessibility to central London. So on the metro, on the underground, you can get to central London in about 15 minutes. So we've got really great links as well where we're based. I don't know if you want to add any more to that, Talani, or if anyone has any questions, or Andrew, Ambam, if you want to add anything.
Does anybody want to add to that? Okay, I guess
so
no, but sorry.
I just have one thing, that we're going to take questions towards the end of the session. Once we're all done presenting, and you know, I think there's a ton of questions coming in right now as well, but I don't want to, you know, break the momentum right away.
Right.
So towards the end, we'll take every question and we'll get an answer to them. All right, please, all yours, Devanshi. Thank you so much.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much, Mr. Talani and Ms. Lizzie. I think that was really helpful. Moving on to the second question, what are the programs offered at your university in case anybody is interested in doing the undergraduate level or master level program?
Thank you for that question. That's a wonderful question. I'll start by explaining that just to make it quite easy. As a university, like you would all know, in India, you have universities with multiple faculties. At Ravensbourne, we have two major schools at Ravensbourne. So there's a design school and there's a media school. So in your introduction, you mentioned that about, you know, media, about design, you know, music design and things like that. So that is the first thing I want us to kind of, you know, focus on, the schools we have. So these are just two major schools, and then there's a graduate school for postgraduate students. So when we're looking at these schools, we're looking at undergraduate programs within the School of Design, for example. So we have three main departments, like if you're calling it that. So there's the architecture, there's the design practice. So in the design practice is where Andrew, you know, lectures as well, is a course leader in the design practice, and there's the fashion. And, you know, for our design practice, I've seen, you know, the works that our design students have done. We've got Anvam here, and also our fashion student also, magnificent work. You know, it's, you know, top of the ring. They've won awards, you know, at different levels with their work. So the second school is the media school. So within the media school, we have two major schools, departments. There's a media lab and the media work. So it's within this particular department, we have courses like animation, digital photography, editing, post-production, games development. And one new program we've also added is also games programming. And we have various other options in terms of that is kind of IT focused. For example, cloud computing, which is linked to AWS, Amazon, creative computing, cybersecurity, digital film production, digital marketing, digital television production. So we have a lot of programs available that students from ISDI can actually progress on. And it's a wonderful opportunity that we have this working together. Within the graduate school, there's something wonderful happening at Ravensbourne. We are creating more relevant master's program. But in the first instance, we have four MA and MDes program. Right. So I will turn it all around. What is MDes? MDes is Masters of Design, you know, like we have, you know, design. So you would have, you know, certifications like Masters of Science, Masters of Arts. So we have what is called the Master of Design. And it is within that we have the MDes Service Design and MDes Social Innovation. And then we have the illustration, MA Illustration, and also programs that would actually help our students go into sectors that would give them the opportunity to change their environment. And we also have the option of the architecture program as well, the Arch Architecture program. So these are the programs we have at Ravensbourne for our students, and our students students that already completed, for example, the 2+2, when I use the term 2+2 here, see that as you completing 2 years at ISDI and another 2 years at Ravensbourne, and then progressing to a master's program. That's when you'll be studying for a 1-year program. So it's very important to note when, in this discussion, maybe you hear Lizzie or myself using the word 2+2, it just means you haven't studied 2 years at ISDI, you have the opportunity to come to Ravensbourne to study 2 years and then progress to study a master's program. So I know I like talking about these programs. I will allow Lizzie, chip in a bit if you want to do that for me, Lizzie. Thank you.
Yeah, Talani, I was just thinking we should share the course list just so, our guests today can see exactly what courses we have to offer.
Yeah, that's a very great opportunity. Are you happy for us to do that?
Definitely.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. So I have, I'll do something now. I'll just share my screen. I have, I have on here right then. So good. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes, Talani. Great.
Right. I'll make it a bit, I'll make it bold here. So, right. So we come on here, I was talking about the school, the undergraduate program here. So, I initially mentioned the architecture program. So we have the architecture program, the BA Honors Architecture program, the interior design, environmental architectures, we call these ideas. These are programs available within these two schools and this department, and then the design practice. As I said earlier on, we have Andrew here, that is a course leader in product design, and there's an option for motion graphics, illustration for communication, graphic design, advertising and brand design, and also user experience and user interface. This is popularly known as UX UI. For this particular program, we know we're heading to a more digital perspective in terms of different companies going into that realm. So for example, students will be looking at developing apps, design, the look and the feel of it. And this is what this program will offer to students that transferring to Ravensbourne. This is a new program at Ravensbourne, but it's doing so well that the application rate has gone really high, since inception about 2 years ago at Ravensbourne. And then we have the fashion program. So there's a fashion design program as on its own, it's a standalone. But we also have the digital technology pathway. This is a new option that we're introducing for students. And also there's the fashion buying and brand management and fashion promotion. All these programs are really interesting. And one thing is this that I need to mention before I go on to the next slide. I would allow Lizzie to talk about the next slide, is this program would require students transferring to have a portfolio. But the good thing I want to mention here is you already have that already, having studied at ISDI, you're already creating your portfolio and everything. So it makes it a very seamless transfer process for our students. So I'll just go on to the next slide here for Lizzie to talk about.
Thanks, Talani. Yes, great. So as we said as well, we're obviously creative arts and digital media. So the media side of Ravensbourne we have to offer. You can see some of the wonderful courses we have available. I won't talk about each course, of course, but however, let's look at the games development course and the games programming course. What is the difference between these two courses? Well, originally, we only had a games development course, and it did have some aspects of games programming. However, we were seeing this was becoming increasingly popular amongst our students. So we decided to separate and have two separate courses because we're very receptive and we respond to the demand of the students. So the games development course will be the creative side of the game, how to, build the environment, the characters of the game, whereas the games programming looks at more technical, so the coding of the game. And the gaming industry now is really increasing, especially even more so after COVID, I imagine. And you see some games now in the industry. For example, there's a game called The Last of Us, and it's like watching a movie. So all the work and the creativity behind that is incredible. Some other courses, so Talani mentioned obviously our computing related courses. We have 3 here: cloud computing, creative computing, cybersecurity. One positive of many, one of the many positives of these courses is they're run in association with Amazon Web Services. So when students graduate, they can already say they have a course, a bachelor's, that's been associated with Amazon Web Services. And that's the industry links we are creating. And then we also have courses related to film production, TV production, sound design, digital marketing, and where else better to be in the UK than London for these courses, because it's the headquarters of the BBC, and students have actually had experience, well, working with the BBC on set of Star Wars as well, and many other great opportunities. So London, not only London, but Ravensbourne is a brilliant environment to boost their career in these courses in the industry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Much. I think that was really insightful, and it's given us a lot to think about, and that was quite a wide array of programs you've got. And in fact, there are quite a few programs that are a pathway from ISDI. Like, for example, the game design is one of, it's a part of the communication design at ISDI itself. So I think that was really interesting to know. Thank you so much for that. Moving on to the next question. What is a day in the student's life like? What do they typically do? I think Anvam will be able to answer that.
Yes, I was about to say, I think Anvam is the best person to answer this question.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. So I think I'll start off by saying, as soon as you walk into Ravensbourne, there's design everywhere. Every corner you look, as soon as you enter, it's just a great place to be in. Like we've already touched upon the location of it, and I mean, where else? London is probably one of the greatest cities in the world, so it's the hub of almost everything, and that's kind of where you want to be. The opportunities you get in the university are amazing. I mean, everywhere you're walking, you're seeing students from different courses, different fields. You get to interact with them, get to talk to them, and you're constantly learning something new. Obviously, different students will have different schedules depending on what course they are on. But you constantly run into each other. You make friends from a different course, whether it's a break or you're working on a collaborative project, which is something that Ravensbourne really promotes, where they want you to get an experience of what different courses are like, what it's like working with different students from different fields, which is a very good thing to do, because that's what happens when you're working in the industry. A couple of experiences that I've had was, we had one collaboration project where I ended up working with like set design students and music and sound design students, and you just learn so much just by sitting, talking to them, seeing how they work, and when they get to see how you work, you come up with new ways to collaborate, and the facilities that they have in terms of, for me as a product design student, the prototyping room is probably like the holy grail. It's like, in football terminology, the theater of dreams. Sorry, I'm a Manchester United fan. But it's so much fun, and there's so much you learn. You have the laser cutting machine, you have a wide array of 3D printers, and also just by being in the prototyping room, even if you're not doing anything, just by sitting and observing other students work, whether it's the fashion design courses using the Zun machine or getting prints done, it's just a wonderful place to be. And like we've touched upon, it's a state-of-the-art building, and it's just, yeah, a wonderful place to be.
Thank you so much. I think that was lovely, and we're really happy to know that. And thank you so much again. Moving on.
Can I just add to that just for 1 minute? Sorry to cut in there. So Anram said something really interesting, and I just want to take everyone here joining us on a short trip just to look at just one place that he mentioned, the prototype suite. I mean, so I'm going to do a virtual. I'm going to share my screen and just do a virtual tour. It won't take more than 5 minutes, and then I will hand over back to you. So I will just do a screen share now. Can you see our lovely campus now? So this is our lovely campus here. Can you see?
Yes, Delani, we can.
Oh, good. So, right, this is our campus. And, Lizzie mentioned earlier on, the environment we're located. This is where you get to your metro, the train station, Northern Line to Central London. And this is one of the biggest shopping mall around in Southeast London. When you finish studying and you just feel like shopping or going to the restaurant, you're just free to just pop in here. But this is where I just want to show you the prototypes, the 3D prototype suite that Anwar mentioned. So I'm going to look at this, and this is where, Andrew, after, your lectures and things like that, the students will come into this place. So we have, for example, the 3D printers. I've seen different types of 3D printers in this prototype suite, and I got really impressed with it. One major thing for our students to understand is when you go into this lab, we don't just allow you to just go in. We have technicians. After the support you must have received from your course leaders and your tutors, you have technicians that would actually support you throughout all the sections you want to work on here. I don't know if, Andrew, you want to just add one thing or the other for this particular, tour on within the prototype suite. Yeah.
Sure. So in the design workshop, which we're looking at now, we have a range of 3D printing equipment, which is mainly using plastics, but we also have a plaster 3D printer. We also have laser cutters for cutting wood and plastics and maybe fabrics or any other kind of flat material. We've got equipment for working with blue foam. So product designers will be, and other courses are making a kind of representational models using blue foam, which we can just see here on the left. We have a kind of, just behind here, a traditional woodworking area for making basic kind of resistant materials and general making work. So both products and architecture, and indeed any course can come in and use the facilities at any time. Even people studying film, for example, might be making some props or something like this. We try to aim to be as open as possible. We have CNC equipment. We have a Zund machine, which is for cutting out packaging, vinyl cutters. And then in the back, which we can't really see here, we've got textile printing and a general textile machinery, such as embroidery machines.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you so much. I will hand over back to you.
Thank you so much. I think that is some really nice equipment to let the students have like a hands-on experience of everything they do. And that seems really interesting. So thank you for that. I think London is one of the design capitals, and design is one of the fastest moving economies. So I would like to ask you, what are the post-course opportunities the university provides? What are the possibilities of the students staying back? And what are the industrial linkages the university has?
Thank you. With that, I'll start by two parts of it, and then Lizzie, I will allow you to talk about the agency part for students. You focus on the agency part, but I'll talk on the post-study visa opportunity or post-study opportunities at in the UK in general. So recently, the UK government made a decision, and we've always had this in the UK. It's an opportunity to stay back after studying a degree program, for example, an undergraduate program or a master's program in the UK. So when you transfer to the UK and you study at Ravensbourne University, upon completion of your degree, you will have the opportunity to apply for what is called a post-study work visa. And that allows you to stay in the UK for 2 years, 2 additional years, and you can work full-time within the industry. If I take us back one step to the design district that Lizzie mentioned, about an environment where you have design experts. So while you're studying, you're actually gaining that network and experience, and you can actually use that as a springboard when you complete your degree to look for a job and also stay back in the UK and work. But one good thing before I pass it over back to Lizzie to talk about the agency is, while you're studying as an international student, you're allowed to work for 20 hours during term time. And that's a very great opportunity. And that would then link to what Lizzie would talk about within the agency itself as an opportunity for students studying at Ravensbourne. Over to you, Lizzie.
Thank you. So firstly, I think, as we've spoken a lot about collaboration, is because we're a very practical-based uni, the students are being taught how to work, how they'd be working in the workplace post-graduation. So the environment is basically replicating what it would be like in the real world. As Anvam said before, he loves to be able to collaborate with students from other courses. So let's say, for example, fashion students are, presenting their work and they're doing a catwalk. They needed to work with advertising students, for example, to advertise the event. They also need to work with sound design students for music and things like this. Yeah, apologies. I just got distracted by the chat there where there's loads going on. So firstly, that makes our students more employable. We actually have a 90% employability rate. So when our students graduate, they find work within the field they've studied within 6 months. 90% of our students find this. And the other students perhaps go traveling and, you know, do other things. We also have a portal called the agency. So the agency allows employers to post job listings because they know about Ravensbourne students. We've built a reputation. So they'll post job listings related to the design and creative arts field. And our students can apply for this. So this can be a range of part-time jobs, internships, full-time jobs, freelance work, and things like that. So that will also prepare the students. Also, you know, some of our students have now graduated and they work with the companies such as Jimmy Choo, for ASOS, for the Royal Shakespeare Company here in London, Morphy Richards, so a wide range of fields as well. So that's the great connections. And also not forgetting our wonderful academics who are all from industry background as well. They've worked in the industry and they're there obviously to guide the students. They've got links as well to help, you know, connect the students. So Andrew, I don't know if you want to talk a bit about your experience, if you've got any industry links as well.
Absolutely, I can do. So my background is in medical engineering. So I started my career designing surgical equipment to be used in hospitals. I spent some time then transitioning into education, but I still also work in the design field as well. And most of the academics at Ravensbourne are still also working in the industry. So there's a kind of permeable relationship. There's lots of industry people coming in and talking to the students all of the time. And the way that this plays out a lot of the time in the curriculum, in the day-to-day situation for the students at the university, is in something called a live project. So a live project is just where a company will come in, set the students a brief, a real world problem to solve, and then the students will be working with that company who will be coming in sometimes every week and offering their expertise and assistance to the students to help solve the real world problem. And then often the work that the students produce will then go into the world and help people and make things more beautiful and whatever it is that design does.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Andrew, Mr. Talani, and Ms. Lizzie. I think that gave us a lot to take back about London and all the opportunities that students have after their courses. And personally, as a student, I think it's very important to do internships for hands-on experience. And I think your university is providing that, so that's brilliant.
Sorry, Devanshi. I think Anvam just wanted to chip in as well.
Definitely. So sorry.
Yeah.
No, don't worry about it. Thank you. So I think like Andrew mentioned as well, with a lot of real world projects. So while I've been at university, I've had the opportunity to work with certain companies to showcase my work for certain industries. There was this one project I remember very vividly where we had Mozilla come in and set us a brief regarding internet security and internet health. That's something that Mozilla take really seriously. And that was another collaborative project where I got to work with students from my own course. And, you know, it's about creating the design and then submitting your work for an opportunity to, you know, showcase your work to real people in the industry. There was another course where I worked, which was led by Andrew, where we were doing learning about user interface and user experiences. And we had an industry professional whose name is Basil Safwat, come in, and he talked about his experiences and the work that he's done with companies such as Spotify and Jaguar, about the designs that they've done. And then they look over your work and give you the opportunity to showcase your work to them as well. And another key part of making connections and looking at the real world industry is that Ravensbourne promotes design competitions a lot. I think that's something that's very important and something you should always keep an eye out for. We've had design competitions from companies such as Popeye, which make in-market, in-store displays, as well as companies like Burger Pack that specialize in packaging. And we've had the leaders and heads of them, such as Phil Day and Dane Whitehurst, come in as well. And it just allows you and gives you an opportunity to connect with them, to talk to them about what it's like in the industry. They look at your work and they will give you information about how your work compares to, with work that's out there by current professionals. And it's just a great opportunity. I managed to, enter a design competition for Popeye, and I managed to win a bronze award. And that experience, that exposure, the feedback you get is something that's so vital and so critical, and it helps you plan ahead for your future.
Thank you so much. Congratulations on your award, and thank you so much for sharing your personal experience. I think it's helped all of us understand better. Moving on to the next question. I think Anvam, you would like to answer this better as well. What are the accommodation and living facilities? Does the university have an accommodation, or do you have to find accommodation off campus?
So the unique thing about Ravensbourne, and I think you can say that about a lot of the universities, is it's unlike your traditional campuses where Ravensbourne is like a standalone building. When you look at the accommodations that they offer, Ravensbourne do have tie-ups with accommodations nearby. One such example is Scape. And another example, which I stayed in for around a year and a half, is called The Cube. And they have locations around London, and obviously you can try to search and see where you want to live. Commuting in London is not really an issue. The distances can be, far, but it's so well connected that, you will find a way and you will make it there no matter what. Just expect, the evening rush hour, but that's all right. And, staying in the accommodations is a great way to also meet people from different universities, again, different fields. The accommodation that I stayed in was actually really close to the University of Greenwich. And that area is just wonderful. It's an experience that I'm really grateful for, living on your own in the accommodation, cooking yourself, cleaning. I did, however, move away to a place of my own afterwards. And there are always options where you can, if you have a really close friend, or you're coming to London with people that renting a place on your own and sharing the expenses, because it can get a little difficult for students if you're new in a city. So these are all options that are available. I know friends who share a place with like 4 or 5 other people, and there's just so many options. But Ravensbourne does have tie-ups with places that just make it easier for you to look for a place.
Okay, thank you so much. Would anyone like to add to this?
Yes, I would like to add to this. I think I'm going to be sharing my screen, every other time I got kind of come up to speak, just to make it, it's the experience. And, for what Anvam has, spoken about is when you see it, you kind of experience it. So I'll kind of share my screen, and then we will go on to kind of explain it. So Anvam was talking about Scape, and this is Scape actually. You can see this is the student accommodation. When I scroll on top, this twin building here, they're the accommodation, and it's located within a residential area, and it's also very, very close to the university. So when I say very close to the university, what do I mean? So this is a room here, a sample. You remember when I did my tour, I showed you the O2. So if you look into this window, you'll be seeing the O2 arena. So it's just telling you basically, you're just walking like 10 minutes thereabouts to the campus. And it's, you don't have to get on the bus, every morning, or, go to the, go through that rush hour. And you don't have to get on the train unless you want to go to Central London. But this is what the rooms look like in Scape. There's a gym actually, and also, different types of room that you're able to, apply to live in when you're studying. And this will be done by our student services team. The one thing I want to say about this opportunity is this: when you're living here, you have the opportunity, as Anvam said, is to mix with other students. So this building alone is not just for Ravensbourne. We have other students from other universities also living here. So it creates that experience and the diversity as well, to allow students come together, home students, EU students, international students, and share their experience while living, very close to the campus. And that's something I just want to share with you. If you want to book a room on here. Our student services team will definitely help out with that. As I said, it's a wonderful place. I just must also say I live very close to this building, so I see it everywhere, and I know how safe it is for students living around there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your screen and showing us what it looks like and how it is. Thank you. What are the advantages of living in London as a student?
Oh, okay. I was just waiting for that part. Like we've talked about, London is one of the greatest cities in the world. It's like no place you've been to. I've been very lucky because I grew up in London for the first few years of my life, and then I've been moving between India and the UK. London is just a great hub. There's something happening all the time, whether it's an event, a concert, a design show, an exhibition at a museum, events at parks, or there's always something happening, and there will never be a moment where like, oh, what am I going to do? What do I do today? If you just leave your accommodation and go for a walk, you'll find something to do. And an advantage for students especially is that London is just so well connected. You can get from the east to the west in under 30 minutes. And as well as the facilities provided for students when it comes to your student Oyster card to get discounted travel on whether it's the underground or the bus network. We even have, there's even something called the DLR, the Docklands Light Railway, that runs through certain paths. And London is also currently working on the Elizabeth line, which is supposed to be, functioning next year. And that will kind of connect, the southeast of.
I think we lost him.
There will always be people.
There, he's back.
Oh, sorry. There will always be people, in London in that sense, because you move and, you talk to friends about, oh, I'm going to London. I was very lucky in finding people that I knew from my school here. And, you end up meeting, talking, you make new friends at university, you go out. And another great advantage, I don't know if the parents would, like to hear this, but it's right next to the O2, and that concert's happening all the time. And like Delani mentioned as well, there's some great restaurants, and the shopping mall there is brilliant. And Stratford Westfield is not that far, so you can go have a really good time.
Okay, thank you so much. I think that's really exciting, and the student life seems to be really amazing at London. So thank you for that. Would anyone like to add?
I think it's just echoing what Anvam said, really. London has over 8 million people, and the second city in the UK has 1 million. And there's a reason for that. It's because obviously of the job opportunities. It's extremely diverse as well. And it's just a wonderful place to be. And okay, people think of a busy capital city. However, London also has various parts. It has many parks, and various parks, for example, Greenwich, where we're located, has great connections to the centre, but also has this calm atmosphere. So it's actually, I think, a very relaxing atmosphere. So it's a really nice, stress-free environment to be in. So yeah, I think it's a wonderful city. So yes, I would recommend it to anyone.
Thank you so much. My next question would be, what is covered in the product design program, and how is it different from the product design programs offered by other universities in the UK?
Okay, so the product design program at Ravensbourne is a mixture of both physical and digital design. That in itself is quite an unusual combination. We believe that more and more of design work is going to involve understanding software. More and more companies are doing more and more things digitally. You used to buy a CD. Now you're usually listening to music on Spotify. So it's really important that product designers are keeping up with these trends. And, once a student starts, it maybe isn't 2 or 3 years until they graduate. So it's important that we're thinking into the future. I think Ravensbourne, we've talked about the industry contacts, and I think that is really core to all courses at Ravensbourne, but especially the product design course. Just weaving this real world experience and just getting ready for industry in a practical way by doing exactly what students would be doing once they graduate, but just within the university in a bit of a kind of safer and more supportive environment during that time.
Okay, thank you so much. I think that really explains it. I would now like to ask Ms. Bulbul to take over.
Thank you, Devanshi. You're doing such a wonderful job. I don't feel like coming in between at all. So thank you but be there, because you're really the anchor. And heartiest congratulations on all the work you've done. And Anvam, you're in the graduating year, so heartiest congratulations while you prepare to graduate this year.
Thank you.
I'm actually looking at the quest. Where are you joining from? Which part of the world are you right now? Are you in India?
So unfortunately, due to the situation, I had to leave the UK last year, and I've been in India since then. I'm currently in Pune, but I've still been working online and collaborating with my students, with Andrew and our other course leaders. It's been interesting. It's been a challenge, but it's still a wonderful experience. And you never forget that the services that Ravensbourne offer, I mean, they're always reaching out to help you and make sure that we are working to the best of their abilities.
Fantastic. And thanks, Lizzie, Tulani, and Andrew for joining. I have a question actually for all our industry or our university guests, and any of you could take it. And there are questions on the chat box as well. What kind of a scholarship can a student who's finished 2 years at ISDI and has a wonderful portfolio and wishing to go to study at Ravensbourne expect? And it would be nice if you can also talk about scholarships that the university offers, and sometimes there are scholarships that the British government also offers, maybe by way of UKIRI or certain other scholarships. So any of you could take that.
Thank you very much.
Would you also just give us an indication of what does it cost to study at Ravensbourne with the scholarship and without the scholarship?
Well, that's great. Thank you very much for that opportunity. So what I'll do at this point, it's very good to, that question is a very, very important question. So what I'll do is I would share my screen again, and then we would actually have that discussion where Lizzie can actually, jump in and also help out on this occasion. So, right, I'm picking it from your last question, which is the cost of studying at Ravensbourne. So the cost of studying at Ravensbourne, if we look on here, we'll be seeing that we don't have to, bother a lot about the further education. This is the, the foundation. We're looking at the undergraduate. So for this year, 2021-22 academic year, so it's £16,500 per year when a student, if an international student wants to study at Ravensbourne. And then for the postgraduate, these are the opportunity, the fee for the postgraduate, there's £17,000, I beg your pardon, for the MA and the MDes. And then the MH, that's 16,500. The reason this is 16,500, the MH is it's a 2-year program. You study for 2 years, but for this program, it's a 1-year program. So, but in the case of the undergraduate program, where ISDI students will transfer to Ravensbourne, they'll be studying for 2 years. So they'll only be paying 16,500 times 2 for 2 years instead of 3 years. So that's one benefit as well. In the case of this fee, students are expected to pay £5,000 deposit before joining us, and then we will issue a CAS for them to apply for their visa, back in India. But one good thing I want to say here is this, before I go on to the scholarship, where Lizzie would also, support me here, is with the tuition fee. Once you pay the tuition fee, we're working on getting our students to actually pay the balance of the tuition fee in installment. That hasn't been, clarified, but the current arrangement is upon arrival at enrollment, the student will then pay the balance of the tuition fee. You can actually pay the full balance before joining us, but what would happen is you would also benefit from a 5% early payment discount in addition to whatever scholarship you've been able to secure. So I would go to the next slide here, which is the scholarship slide. You will notice we have TBC on here. We're still waiting for the management to confirm the 2021-22 scholarship, but this is what we offered to our students as our last year. So, but one good thing about this is we're looking at increasing this scholarship offer to students, and also there will be an opportunity to have discussions with ISDI. So Professor Bulbul will be able to have that, when we're having that discussion. But here we have, for example, we have available for international students all over the world, I must say, is £2,000 scholarship and a 150% fee discount for undergraduates. And that's quite different. So I would allow, Lizzie talk about the postgraduate scholarship before I add my addition to other scholarship available by the UK government. Lizzie, over to you.
Yeah, well, you can see here, obviously, some examples of previous postgrad scholarships, but, we are, as Talani said, we're waiting for confirmation of the new ones, and we actually envisage they're going to be better. So, ISDI students, if you come study your undergrad with us, hopefully by the time, you get to postgrad, we'll have some wonderful opportunities for you. One thing I wanted to state was how to apply for the scholarship. So once you've been made an offer by us, it needs to be an unconditional offer. You would then be able to apply for a scholarship. Now, it's not done first come, first serve. It will be done by case basis, okay? So our admissions team and some academics will look into your application. You'll submit, a portfolio or perhaps show reel, depending on the course, and it will be done case by case basis. But yeah, I think that's all there is to state in that respect.
Thank you, Lizzie. And you mentioned something again, Professor Bobo, about other scholarship available maybe by the UK government. The one that I know of that is quite popular is the Chevening Scholarship, but that's mainly targeting postgraduate students. The good thing about that scholarship is it gives you 100% scholarship and also living expenses. It covers your living expenses. So you would apply to a university that is also taking part in that scholarship scheme. And then you'll be able to, if you're successful, I've seen applications from India. It's very, very competitive. However, the good thing is you'll be a Chevening scholar. It's a full ride. There'll be 100% tuition fee paid, and also you will also get monthly a stipend to cover your living expenses, which is equivalent to, I think, about the living expenses now in the UK, which is in London. It depends, but in the UK, that's what you get. Actually, the Chevening body will offer you that. So that's the information about the Chevening Scholarship. The Chevening Scholarship is not available to undergraduate students, I must say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lizzie, and thank you, Tolani. And of course, understand that it also depends on the portfolio of the students at the time that they apply. One of the questions I see on the chat box asked by a lady by the name of Pooja Singh is, how soon can a student from ISDI take a transfer to Ravensbourne? And normally, Pooja, this is a 2+2, as we often refer, which is for students who do the first 2 years at ISDI, and then they take a transfer into the third year in the third year of ISDI, they take a transfer to Ravensbourne. I also see a lot of questions, students asking about whether the university awards a diploma or a degree when you're going to a university. So all the programs are degree programs. Now, this is a question that would have been very useful if we had some representation from the US university. We've got one university from London today, but 2 students have asked a question, and any of you could take it. Anvam, you must have done your bit of research as well, right after 12th. UK versus US, how do we make a decision? Any of you could take that. And Devanshi, you could look at some of the other questions on the chat box and you could decide who could take the rest.
Definitely,
okay?
Definitely.
So on that question, UK or US, how does a student take a decision? And I think this question is pertinent given ISDI's association with Parsons?
Parsons, yes. So I think when I was applying, for me, it was a very interesting journey because initially when I was completing my 12th, I was studying to become an engineer. And over time, I kind of realized that the interest that I have is actually in design. And since then, after having a lot of chats and talking to a lot of people in the industry through connections, I kind of really narrowed it down to certain universities. And like you mentioned, Parsons was also an option. And in the end, it kind of came down to between Parsons and Ravensbourne. And again, it's like the US versus the UK. I think there are a lot of factors to consider. In my opinion, I can see that the cost of education in the US is quite high. I feel like it is easier for a student in the UK. Having said that, the cost of living in the UK is something that could be, so kind of expensive. But like I've said before, the opportunities and the things put in place for students are so great that you don't really feel that, because you have student discounts almost everywhere you go. There are apps such as Uni Days where, if you want to buy something online, they will give you a discount code and you can get as much as 50 or 75% off. Your public transport costs are also reduced a lot. And for me, in the end, the decision came back to, being in London, because like I've said, London is just such a wonderful place to be. And I've had history with London because I was born there. I've been living there for quite a while. And now I've, decided to settle in London as well. And I think a lot of the option comes down to what you're really looking to do, the courses, and also kind of, sometimes when you're applying, you kind of think ahead to the future as well. Like, do you want to work in the US or do you want to work in London or Europe? And I think that's something that you have to think about. And in my opinion, it's easier for a student, especially from India, to find a job in the UK, because like Tolani has mentioned, the new, the rules that allow an Indian student to stay for a few more years after they've graduated. I feel like it's really built around helping and supporting the students and to make sure that, they're able to stay on in the UK.
That's a very wonderful one, Anvam. I really appreciate it. You actually, hit some points that, I had in mind to talk about. So I've got 4 points to talk about here. I hope I'm not going to take all your time. So it's just to get our students, that idea. So the first one I'll talk about is diversity. So comparing US and the UK, most especially I'll be looking at London in this case. There's diversity also in the US, but when you look at London, most especially, the diversity in London is to such an extent that people feel very comfortable living in London. And also within the university as well, the diversity, within Ravensbourne is something that is, it's giving me the opportunity to actually settle down in the university as a staff as well. So when you put that, as a student, it's also a very good opportunity, diversity in terms of lecturing students and also within the environment you live in. There are places where, for example, I love eating in Indian restaurants. So in London, you would have more than enough places where you will go. Since I moved to the UK as well, that's something I've always enjoyed doing. And it's very, very interesting how various communities will come together and work together as one. It's something that, gives me that pride that this is the place to live. And it's a very, very, open environment where people can discuss what they're feeling like and also receive the support as well. The second one is the cost. So at Ravensbourne, we accept what is called the federal aid from United States students. So how is that, why is that coming into this? So for example, the cost of studying in the US, as Avram said, is quite high. And also when you look at the duration, so if you're looking at a degree in the US, so you're looking at 4 years, but in the UK is 3 years. So United States students, the very smart ones, and some ones are like, what, I think it's making sense. I quickly go to the UK, study an undergraduate and also study a master's, and also you're studying an undergraduate and also a master's and graduating before your colleagues, and also less in terms of cost. So we accept them and they come in, and when they see the difference in cost, they really appreciate that to come to London. I mentioned the third point I have here, which is duration as well. So I've joined that together. The fourth one is a post-study work visa. The post-study work visa, we've actually mentioned that. So while you're studying in the UK, I don't know about the US, to be very honest, because we don't have any US university here. So maybe in case in the future, if you have that, that'll be something for them to clarify. But what I'm confident about is in the UK, when you come to study and you complete your degree, you can actually apply to stay back for 2 years. But let me take this step, another step further. There's a graduate route where a company can actually employ you and sponsor you as an international staff to stay in the UK. And the UK government, they've done something really important that would actually allow company attract, really important skilled workers to come to the UK. For example, if Anvam, for example, becomes a designer and a company wants to employ him, as the government, they've reduced the threshold of the salary expected, and students can then apply after graduation, and this company will apply for them, they will sponsor them, and then they can be in the UK to work, without any hindrance as a full resident in the UK. And that's something that the UK is, offering to, different countries. The UK is open, and that's what the government is trying as much as possible to say. I guess recently the Prime Minister wanted to travel to India, but due to the current situation, and he's unable to travel. But when he travels, I want everyone here to kind of listen to what he's got to say. The message is to tell you, the relationship between the United Kingdom and India is so open that we're kind of working together. When the opportunity comes, please listen to his speech, and also the speech of the Indian Prime Minister as well. You will get the feel of what I'm saying now, that England is open, London is open, Ravensbourne is open to you all. Thank you.
I'm just going to jump in there. I know we're probably running out of time. Just to clarify about the post-study work visa, you will not need a sponsor. So you just have to apply with a valid visa when you finish your undergraduate studies, and you will not need a sponsor. You'll be able to stay for 2 years. And one important point that hasn't been touched upon about the UK and US is Talani rightly mentioned it's 4 years. However, as well, in the US, when you study a specific course, you'll have majors and minors. So perhaps you're studying product design as a major, but you might have to study, maths and science as minors. Whereas in the UK, from the first day to the day you finish, you are specialising in the course you're studying, which I think is really important as well. So yes, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Moving on to the last question by Sia Shah. She is asking if she does 2 years in India and she wants to transfer to your university. If she does her first 2 years in a particular discipline, will she be able to change it when she transfers to your university?
All right.
Hi, do you want to say that to Lani, or do you want to get it?
No, I'll take that out, and then maybe you chipping in there. That's a very, very good question. So there's something called mapping, and I'm sure Andrew, when Andrew will be assessing different transcripts or what you've done in the past. So for example, if a student has done a program and there's a bit of similarities with other programs, or you want to study another program and another course within a particular department, it will be mapped according to what is expected in the first year at Ravensbourne, and also what you've done at ISDI, and that would allow our tutors, the course leaders, and the program directors to make a decision. In some cases, this will be possible, but in some cases, it might not be possible. For example, if you've studied something very different to fashion design, and you want to come into 2 years in fashion design, until I joined Ravensbourne, I never used to think, oh, you know what, how difficult is fashion design? But I've now realized how difficult it is. When I use the word difficult, it's because of what is required, the skills required. But I'm sure most of you have the skills. So when you're coming from a different background and you want to go into something like fashion design, you need to consider that. But there are other programs as well that will be able to look into that. I think, Lizzie, if you have anything to add to that, but Andrew will also be in a very good position to actually, shed more light on what is expected when a student is coming from another, background entirely, and how we map that to, other programs.
Yes, generally, we need to look at each student's case. If a student is moving from architecture to product, then it's a different case from if someone is moving from film to product. And we will take each student's case as it is, and we'll make a plan for every student. So what I would say is that whatever your background, we will try and come up with a way to make it work, because we've got various regulations that we have to fulfill to give you a degree at the end and make sure that all of the things that you need to do are covered. But also just to make sure that you're not coming in a way that's you feel a bit left behind, or you feel like you don't have the skills required. That can also be uncomfortable. So we need to just make sure that everything is working well, and that the student is at the level that they need to be. But there's ways in which we can make sure that happens. So in any case, I would say just ask us, and we'll be able to give you the information depending on your own personal case.
Yeah, thanks for that, Andrew. So Devanshi, I was looking at the list of programs, a communication design student, and there are Lizzie and Andrew and Anvam, Tolani. I saw almost 5 or 6 pathways inside of communication or graphic design. So communication design students could possibly look at any of those. Product design, of course, is a mapped program. Some programs are already mapped to the university. Fashion, I saw 3 or 4 very nice pathways, including one on digital technology pathway with fashion. I think so fashion students could look at any 4 of those, but a product or a communication design student could possibly also look at a specialization such as user experience, user interface. So these, of course, are very, what I call organic transfers. These are the most easy to map. But somebody asked earlier if he could study, in the chat box, I think I read somebody doing communication design and wanting to move into music. Now, that's not what I call an organic, because if someone is pursuing music by the side and has all the abilities to get into Ravensbourne, given the set of abilities he's or she's cultivated by the side, because music is not what you're studying at ISDI. So that's a very unusual transfer. Okay, and I'm sure Lizzie's going to scratch her head a little bit and when she looks at a transfer like that. But much of the usual transfers from fashion, product, communication, UX, UI. There's also a film school at ISDI. So those students wanting to go to the media and the film school, those are very natural and often oft applied for transfers. Back to you, Devanshi. I thought that was the last question. I know there are so many more. I doubt we could today, but possibly we can pass those on to the university representatives. And Krish or Abhyuday sir, if you can just make sure that all of them, or even Anvam could take some of them, and we can answer that. Anvam, absolutely. I'm hoping that when the students come to UK, you will become like a mentor, buddy, friend, guide, all of that.
Oh no, absolutely. I've shown countless people around London. I'm getting pretty good at it. So please feel free to get in touch or contact me. I'll be more than happy to help.
Well, thank you so much, Anvam. You're going to have a great list coming your way.
No, absolutely. Feel free. I've seen that there's some football fans in the chat as well. I mean, I'm more than happy to help, talk about design, football, anything.
That would be great, Anvam. This has been a very enlightening session for us to understand the merits of Ravensbourne University. Thank you so much for that. I think on a personal note, we have so much to take back about the academics, the extracurricular activities, about the country and everything. So thank you so much, Miss Lizzie, Mr. Andrew, Mr. Tolani, and Anvam, of course. I would now like to call Kavya Shah, a freshman just like me, to make a very special announcement. To you, Kavya.
Thank you so much, Devanshi. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kavya Shah, a freshman at ISDI from this year, but currently still a 12th grade student from DPS Bangalore North. So today I'm here to invite all of you to a very fun and exciting session that we're going to be having this Saturday, that is the 15th of May at 5 p.m. So during this session, me, Rohan, and myself, all 3 freshmen at ISDI, are going to be having a conversation with our seniors all about student life at ISDI, the social life that the students have, life in Mumbai, the relationship with our seniors, and all the fun social events and extracurriculars at ISDI, which has still taken place even during this pandemic. So we're going to be, the seniors are going to be sharing their experience with us, and we're going to be asking them a bunch of questions. So do register for it, and I'm really looking forward to see all of you all there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kavya. We're going to see each and every student and each and every participant on this call, on your call as well, because you are going to be there and you're going to tell us about your journey. So yes, we're looking forward to that. But we're not done for the day, right? We have a special thank you and a special video for our freshman who took us through the session, Devanshi. We have a special video here for you, and can we please play it and have her look at it as well?
Hey Devanshi, congratulations. I'm sure that your online event must have been a great success and that you must have really enjoyed it. For me, this was a very creative, a very innovative, a very unique way for ISDI to welcome you to be a part of the family. I'm always proud of you, not only as a father, but as a best friend, most of the times now, I guess. Always remember the values you've grown up with. Be humble, be loving, be respectful, be honest, and be sincere. I'm sure you'll put your best foot forward, as you always have. Devanshi, in time to come, you have to make ISDI as proud of you as we are of you. Lots of love, Mom and me.
Thank you so much. That's really sweet and really touching. Thank you. That's really, really sweet.
Well, I have to say, Devanshi, part one success because you already made us so proud of you. So I think part two is now when you come to campus and come to college and actually do us with work as well. So thank you so much, Devanshi. And of course, thank you so much to everyone on this call. Thank you so much to our partners at Ravensbourne as well. Y'all were absolutely fantastic. So, I have to tell everyone on this call, this was decided within minutes, right? This call was scheduled and finalized within minutes of getting in touch with Ravensbourne. So their promptness is as you can see. And of course, they came in a herd, so you can see that passion and that, the way they actually care about it expanding their horizons as well. So thank you so much to the team from Ravensbourne. And of course, thank you so much to every participant on this call. We're going to be seeing you next week as well. And this Friday as well, we have another session planned for you. So please make sure you check your inbox for all the registration details. We will be seeing you shortly. But until then, please take care. Please try and get vaccinated and stay safe. And of course, we have a special, since we had our partners from the UK, we have a special song as well, which is, if you remember and if you can recognize the song, 10 points to you. Anvam has got it right. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this call.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Stay safe.
Thank you, Devanshi. Thank you so much. Krish, thank you so much. Professor Bobo, we really appreciate you. Thank you so much. It's a wonderful opportunity. I really enjoyed this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. And I do look forward to talking to some of you in the future and seeing some of you in London soon.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for having us.
It was a pleasure. Go on, Andrew. Okay.
Bye-bye.